نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها النبي إنا أحللنا لك أزواجك اللاتي آتيت أجورهن وما ملكت يمينك مما أفاء الله عليك وبنات عمك وبنات عماتك وبنات خالك وبنات خالاتك اللاتي هاجرن معك وامرأة مؤمنة إن وهبت نفسها للنبي إن أردنا النبي أن يستنكحها خالصة لك من دون المؤمنين. قد علمنا ما فرضنا عليهم في أزواجهم وما ملكت أيمانهم لكي لا يكون عليك حرج وكان الله غفورا رحيما. ترجي من تشاء منهن وتؤوي إليك من تشاء ومن ابتغيت ممن عزلت فلا جناح عليك. ذلك أدنى أن تقر أعينهن ولا يحزن ويرضين مما آتيتهن كلهن والله يعلم ما في قلوبكم وكان الله عليما حليما. لا يحل لك النساء من بعد ولا أن تبدل بهن من أزواج ولو أعجبك حسنهن إلا ما ملكت يمينك وكان الله على كل شيء رقيبا. Respectful honorable friends, in this Surah Ahzaab, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been mentioning some of the exclusiveness and virtues of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. In last week's tafsir, the verse that we had done, which was on a couple of rulings with regards to divorce, with regards to talaq. That was a general verse for all believers. Now in the verses recited to you, in these verses Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mention some rulings which are specific to Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. There are about 7 rulings here with regards to nikah. And all of these are exclusive to Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. Although in them there may be certain rulings which seem general to everyone, but Allah ta'ala has included with it certain clauses that makes it specific to Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Now we know that these verses practically now in our times are not going to apply, as Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam is not alive in this world. And Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is not going to marry accordingly now. But the fact that it is in the Qur'an, it is there, it is something that we recite. And it is also good for us to be at least aware of and for us to understand. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu inna ahlalna laka azwajaka allati atayta ujurahunna وَمَا مَلَكَتْ يَمِينُكَ مِمَّا أَفَاءَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكَ. This is the first ruling. Wherein Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, O Nabi, indeed we have permitted for you those wives آتَيْتَ أُجُورَهُنَّ whose dowries you have paid. وَمَا مَلَكَتْ يَمِينُكَ مِمَّا فَاءَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكَ, and those slave women who are in your possession from the booty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted you. So the first ruling Allah Ta'ala mentions is that Allah Ta'ala says that those women who are already in your nikah, mean those to marry those who you have given a dowry to, refers to those azwaj mutahharat who are already in the nikah of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that they remain and they are halal upon Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam without any limit to how many wives Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam is able to have, compared to that which the limit which is for the general masses. And along with that, وَمَا مَلَكَتْ يَمِينُكَ, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam can also have those who, slave women, who have come into the possession of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, afa Allahu alayk. Afa from fay. When it comes to booty, you have ghanima and you have the khumus and you have mal fay. The fay is whenever any land or area is conquered without any actual battle itself, without any bloodshed, there whatever spoils of war are gained, that is called fay. Although where there is battle and from there the mal ghanimah that comes, that as well is at times used as fay. Specifically, fay refers towards wherein there is no actual battle that takes place. And here it means mimma fa'allahu alayka, that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted you. Because the booties and the spoils of war are also something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specifically granted this ummah, where it was not allowed for previous ummahs. So Allah Ta'ala says that these women, and specifically as well as it mentions here, the ones who I.T.A, to whom you have given the meher, the dowry to. So they are permitted for you, as Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam will not keep the dowry outstanding as well. As Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam had paid the dowry to all the azwaj mutahharat. And from those who mimma afa Allahu alayka, who came to Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam through the spoils of war, as Sayyidina Safiya bint Huayy radiyallahu ta'ala anha and Sayyidina Juwayriyah bint Harith. They came into possession of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam as they were taken as slaves at the time. And Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam married them. And with regards to Safiya radiyallahu ta'ala anha, freeing her, sadaqaha was what? Itaqaha sadaqaha. Freeing her itself was her mahar and dowry from Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. This is the one ruling. The second ruling was وَبَنَاتِ عَمِّكَ وَبَنَاتِ عَمَّاتِكَ وَبَنَاتِ خَالِكَ وَبَنَاتِ خَالَاتِكَ اللَّاتِي هَاجَرْنَ مَعَكَ. Allah Ta'ala says here, and Allah Ta'ala from those who Allah Ta'ala has made or permitted Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, permitted for Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam to marry, are also the daughters from your maternal uncle, Banati Ammika, and daughters of your maternal aunts, and also your maternal Khadika, Wabnati Khadika, Wabnati Khalatika, and your maternal uncles and your maternal aunts. Allah Ta'ala says here that your cousins here, meaning your paternal from both sides, so your paternal uncles and aunts' daughters, and also your maternal uncle and your maternal aunt's daughters, they are permissible for you. Now this is a ruling which is general for everybody, because you are allowed to marry your cousins in this way. But one added clause for Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam was Allati hajarna ma'ak, that those who have done the hijrah to Medina with you, that they are then included in this, as it says Zainab bint Jahsh radiyallahu ta'ala anha. So the clause there for Nabi Kareem Sallallahu was allati hajarna ma'aka. The hijrat needed to be directly with Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam when Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam migrated, but any time during which migration, during the window of migration, as long as they had migrated with you, then they are permitted for you. Hence Hani radiallahu ta'ala anha bint Abi Talib, she did not marry, and she could not marry Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, or Nabi Sallallahu could not marry her, as she was not from those who had done hijrat. She was from the tulaqa. The tulaqa are those who remained in Makkah al-Mukarramah, and they are those who Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had favored, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had not taken them as prisoners. So she was also the cousin of Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the paternal cousin of Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, as she was the sister. Her name was Fakhta, and her sister, she was the sister of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala anha. So in this way, these women have been made permitted for Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Ta'ala Sallam, and also for this ummah as well. Whereas in the Christians, they would keep it as 7, a gap of 7, before they would marry those within their families. So there would be at least 7 generations, or gap of 7 families, lineage of 7, after which then they would marry. They would not marry their close first cousins or second cousins. It would have to be the 8th cousin, in other words. Deen Islam has allowed that this is something which is allowed and permissible. Yes, there is the hadith as well in its place, when Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Ta'ala Sallam has also advised against it as well. Permissibility is there, that there is no harm in it. It is allowed, it is from those who it is allowed and permissible. But there is also riwayat as well, wherein for a person to abstain or when Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentions to strengthen your progeny by not getting married too close as well. This is in its place. Thus has its merits and its harms as well. And at the same time here, we do have the fact that it is allowed and it is something that is permissible as well. So the clause for Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was that he should only marry those who are related to him in this form. Other relatives were fine. These were just the maternal and paternal aunts and uncles' daughters. But on condition that they had done hijrat with Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That is, after all, an added virtue upon the cousins of Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And then Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says, وَامْرَأَةً مُؤْمِنَةً إِنْ وَهَبَتْ نَفْسَهَا لِلنَّبِيِّ إِنْ أَرَادَ النَّبِيُّ أَنْ يَسْتَنْكِحَهَا. And Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala then mentions, and also permitted for the Nabi of Allah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is to marry that mu'min woman who gives herself as a gift to the Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, if the Nabi desires to marry her. 2 things are mentioned here, 2 rulings. One is وَامْرَأَةً مُؤْمِنَةً, that for Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, it was only permissible to marry those women who were already in the fold of Islam, the mu'minat. Whereas for general men, Muslim men, they are able to, and they were allowed to get married to any of the Ahl Kitab, the Jews and the Christians. But for Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that was not allowed. It was only from who? Mu'mina. They had to be a believer from the beginning. So this is also exclusive to Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And the other ruling exclusive to Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was that in wahabat nafsaha, that if she was to give herself to Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as a gift, and in wahabat means to give a gift. And what would be a gift? Meaning that she gives herself in marriage to Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam without any mahar, without any dowry. If she would present herself in such a manner, and in arada nabiyyu an yastankihaha, if Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam desired to marry her, then he would be allowed to marry her without giving any mahar. And again, this is exclusive to Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. As for others, if a woman does decide and she says that, look, I'm willing to get married to you without anything in return, I'm willing to marry you and I've given myself in marriage to you and I do not want anything in return. Meaning I do not want any mahar, any dowry or anything whatsoever. Even then the fuqaha have mentioned that dowry is still necessary. Even though she says, I forgo it and I do not want any mahar, then too she will still get the mahr misl. The mahr misl is what the customary mahr is from the family, the husband's family, the women, whatever they are normally given, the mahr that the family normally give, that mahr will still be stipulated. So she is still entitled to it. It's a different matter if afterwards, once it is given to her, she wants to give it back to the husband, that is up to her. But if she was to come into nikah in this manner, that there is, I give myself for nothing at all, then this would be the ruling. And this would happen that there were those women who would present themselves to Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. Said Aisha radiallahu ta'ala, this time, said Aisha radiallahu ta'ala felt, and she would say that, do they not feel shame? How would a woman be able to just present herself to him and say, I'm willing to get married to you? Said Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha could not comprehend it. Until she said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this verse, that's when I said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already fulfilled what your desire is. If you desire, then you are able to do that. Had any such Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, yes, there were those sahabiyah, there were those women who had presented themselves to Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in this way. But there is no mention of any Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam accepting any of those proposals. There is no mention of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam actually coming into nikah under those circumstances where he accepted nikah in this manner. And with regards to mahr as well, on one occasion one lady came to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and she asked as well in such a manner. She was a bint Hakim, and she asked Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and she did hiba of herself to Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam didn't say yes or no. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam just looked and didn't say anything at all. There was another sahabi radiallahu ta'ala who was sat there for a while, and so the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is not really saying anything at all. So she was about to leave from there when he said to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, if you are not willing to, if you have no need for her, then I will get married to her. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, fine. What do you have to give her? So she said, I have nothing at all. All I have is, I've got the garment that I have, I can give that to her. So he said, if you're going to give that to her, then what are you going to wear? Then Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that go home, go and see, search for something. Even if it is what Khatum al-Hadid, and even if it is just a steel ring that you have, find something that you may have. He went, he came back and said, Nabi sallallahu nothing at all. So what do you have to give? He said, I have so and so surahs of the Qur'an, that's all I have, I can teach that to her. Then Nabi sallallahu said, fine, I've got her married to you for that. And she accepted. Nabi sallallahu is the wali after all, and he was the wali. Nabi sallallahu did her nikah to him, she accepted it, and he got married to her, and the mahr then was stipulated as him teaching her the Qur'an. Although according to Fiqh Abu Hanifa, that wouldn't be sufficient, a mahr would need to be stipulated along with that. That is a fiqh, the difference of opinion, that's a different matter. But here in this way, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has stipulated a mahr, whereas for Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam himself, that woman who wanted to forgo the mahr, this was something that was allowed for Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, exclusive for Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And Allah Ta'ala mentions here, خَالِصَةً لَكَ مِن دُونِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, that these injunctions mentioned above are exclusively for you and not for the mu'mineen. For their ruling it is straightforward, it is different. Further Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that قَدْ عَلِمْنَا مَا فَرَضْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ فِي أَزْوَاجِهِمْ وَمَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ لِكَيْ لَا يَكُونَ عَلَيْكَ حَرَجٌ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. Allah Ta'ala says, indeed, قَدْ عَلِمْنَا, we are aware of what? Meaning the rulings. We have مَا فَرَضْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ, we have stipulated for them. Who? That's the general mu'mineen. فِي أَزْوَاجِهِمْ, with regards to their wives. وَمَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ, and their slaves that they own. لِكَيْ لَا يَكُونَ عَلَيْكَ حَرَجٌ, so that there is no difficulty for you. Meaning that the general masses and the general believers, for them their ruling is something that we have taught them already and they are aware of. But these are concessions that have been granted to Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam, so that he is able to marry whom Allah Ta'ala commands to marry for whatever reasons, for various reasons. And for the general masses the ruling is different to that of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. in the sense of from the differences were the Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam could only marry the mu'mina, the normal general masses can marry who the Ahl Kitab as well as included the mu'mina. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam, if any woman was willing to give herself nikah without mahar, that was fine for Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam, but it wouldn't be for the men. As well as the number of wives of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam was exclusive compared to the men folk. For them it is just the limit would be only 4. Yes, when it comes to وَمَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ, there too the ruling is similar, that when it comes to slaves that come into your possession, then there is no limit there that it has to be 4 or whatever it may be. But yes, the one difference here is that with regard to even those slaves that came into the nikah, who came in the possession of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ismail Qibtiyya, so for them the ruling was that once they had come into the possession of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, now nobody else could take them as to do nikah with them or to have them as their slave girls. Just the way it was not allowed for anybody to marry the Azwaj Mutahharat after Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, this ruling also applied to the slave girls as well. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. Allah Ta'ala is most forgiving and most merciful. And one of the reasons why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions here that لِكَيْ لَا يَكُونَ عَلَيْكَ حَرَجٌ, so that there should be no difficulty for you, means that if the various restrictions which are on other Muslims, if these were also placed upon Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then the objectives attained through Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam's various marriages would not have been achieved. And remember, when it comes to the marriages of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because this also becomes a topic where those who do not have Iman like to touch on this topic, who like to use this against Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whereas it's not even valid. And there may be those who are believers themselves who do not understand, and even they may have objections to this. And that is only those who will object to it, those who do not really understand or know the history of the nikahs of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the marriages of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Just briefly, we do not have the time to go in detail with regards to each marriage of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is a topic on its own. However, if we would, then we would really understand why Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and what the benefits were of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam marrying the various Azwaj Mutahharat. But just one aspect to bring forward is, especially for those who may have a different idea of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or that negative idea of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam due to multiple marriages, that other general people will want more than one wife for their own gratitude, for their own desires, gratification of their own desires. Was this the case of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam? We say no, that isn't the case. But what is the evidence? The evidence was that it's quite straightforward. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam married at the age of 25. And when Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam married at the age of 25, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not married before that, so this was his first marriage. And who does he get married to? He gets married to Sayyidina Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. And Sayyidina Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha has already been married twice. Already married twice. So somebody who's already been married twice, widowed twice, with her Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam gets married to. And after all, she is much elder than Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alaihi wasallam. Nabi Kareem is only 25 when he gets married to an elder woman who has already been divorced twice. So already that shows that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not just looking towards his own desires in that. And whilst Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in nikah with Sayyidina Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha, he did not marry any other woman at all. Sayyidina Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha passed away when Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam was 50 years old. So 25 years, and which 25 years? 25 years of the youth and the prime of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nabi sallallahu didn't have other marriages during that period of time. It was only Sayyidina Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. So if anybody wanted to enjoy themselves in marriage-wise, and that is the time that they would be wanting so many wives, and that, but that's the time when Nabi Sallallahu didn't get married to anybody else at all. And Nabi Karim had all his children besides Sayyidina Ibrahim from Sayyidina Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. And she was a great pillar, a great support to Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. After her demise, when she passed away before Hijrat, that's when Nabi Karim sallallahu ta'ala sallam now, he was left with what Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was left with his children. And that at that time he had his 4 daughters. So they are also there that need looking after. On that it was advised that Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wa sallam should marry, so that there is someone to look after the children as well. That's when Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wa sallam got married to another elderly woman, Sayyidina Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha. And the whole purpose for that was that the family members had mentioned that, look, there will be somebody there as a motherly figure there, somebody to look after the daughters of Nabi Karim sallallahu ta'ala sallam. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam got married to Sayyidina Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha. And then it is after that Sayyidina Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha herself realized that this responsibility here is not just one of being a wife and of just looking after the children here. Here it's of being what the wife of the Nabi of Allah sallallahu ta'ala sallam, and at the same time there is that domestic life there. And all of this has to also be understood, and all of this has to also be what? Propagated to the ummah. And Sayyidina Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha was not so academically or at that time right for that purpose. Just find housely person not so ready for that. For that reason then it was that there needs to be a fresh mind, somebody who is bright, and somebody who will be able to remember these things and take heed to these things. It is on that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has shown Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala to Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in his dream. And that was the purpose of Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wa sallam getting married with Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. And the fruits and the benefits of that is what? That it is through Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha that so much knowledge has come to this ummah. That she has narrated over 2,210 riwayat, narrations are from Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. Over 200 Sahaba were students of Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. So this amount of knowledge would not have come to us if it hadn't been for Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. She was only 18 when Nabi Karim passed away, as it is. So she was in her youth at that prime time, and she would be able to understand these things, and not only that, but remember all of these things. And she then passed that on to the ummah. Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wa sallam then also mentioned Salma. And said Salma radiallahu ta'ala anha, she narrates over 200 riwayat. To the extent that so many masail have come to this ummah through Sayyidina Salma radiallahu ta'ala anha, that the whole, you can compile a book of the fatwa from Sayyidina Salma radiallahu ta'ala anha. This was the role that they played in the propagation of and this is what was needed. Because one wife would not be able to remember everything. And there are so many occasions when Nabi Aisha would say, go to Salma and inquire from Salma. So in this way. And then along the line, the other Azwaj Mutahharat who came about, Safiya, Juwairiya, and there were reasons why Nabi Karim sallallahu ta'ala sallam married them. And all of them, besides Sayyidina Aisha, all the rest had already been married as it is. They'd already been married, they were widows. And these multiple wives came when? After the age of 50. So that is going towards old age now. That's the time when they came, and they were again, it was a case of non-married women, besides Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, the rest were all already of age, senior age as it is. Which shows that it wasn't just for the sake of gratification. As I mentioned, there's the political reasons, the social reasons, the various domestic reasons for why Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had married those who he had, and those from his family members as well, Zainab bint Jahash, to keep them happy as well. Nabi Karim sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had undertaken these marriages. And with regard to Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, It is only now that people take objection to why Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam married in Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha when she was young. This is now, when we have age restrictions. Age restrictions, which is what? Which is something that government or rulers or people have brought about now in the modern times. So that is something that has come about now. That at what age do you regard somebody to be an adult and an age where a person is still a child, and these things are terminologies that have come now. But in the past this wasn't the case. The norms, even now people in parts of the world do marry girls who are of younger age. And this isn't, although for us legally we will not do that because it's not allowed legally, so a person does not do so. But that legal age was not something that existed in the past. And norms and customs are different, as in when an individual develops into a woman, and as it is for women as well, for girls, at the age of 9, that is the time wherein there are those who then become mature as it is, and are able to become mothers from that age. So if they are able to become mothers, that shows that look, there is a change in them already at that age. So where that norm and the custom was, wherein to marry at that age, they did not regard that to be anything taboo or regard it to be anything wrong, because this was something which was acceptable at that time. That was the norm and the custom. Further, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, تُرْجِي مَنْ تَشَاءُ مِنْهُنَّ وَتُؤْوِي إِلَيْكَ مَنْ تَشَاءُ. Another ruling, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that, O Nabi of Allah, you may suspend whoever you wish, meaning your visits to them. وَتُؤْوِي إِلَيْكَ مَنْ تَشَاءُ. And you may suspend those whom you please, and you may accommodate those of them who you wish to. But in the same time, وَمَنِ ابْتَغَيْتَ مِمَّنْ عَصَلْتَ فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكَ. There will be no sin on you if you seek to accommodate whom you had already suspended. ذَلِكَ أَدْنَى أَن تَقَرَّ أَعْيُنُهُنَّ وَلَا يَحْزَنَّ وَيَرْضَيْنَ بِمَا آتَيْتُهُنَّ كُلُّهُنَّ. This is best, so that their eyes are cooled, they do not grieve, and that they are all pleased with what you give them. Now another ruling that Allah Ta'ala mentions here, which was exclusive to Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. For general Muslims, if they were to have more than one wife, then for them to be equal with all the wives is a necessity, would be necessary. That the amount of time you give to one, you need to give to the other. How many nights you spend with one, you need to spend that amount of nights with the other. If you have 3, 4, then accordingly that has to be distributed. With regards to Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Allah Ta'ala made that as an optional matter to Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Say that whoever you wish from them, if you want to, then you can suspend. And there will be no sin on you if you seek to accommodate. You may suspend your visits to those whom you please, and you may accommodate those who you please. So the giving of turns, that was something which was optional upon Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Ta'ala Alaihi Wasallam. And then Allah Ta'ala says, however, if you do desire that any of the wives you do not want to see them, or you're not going to go to them, this means that there's no harm on you for you to then bring them back into the rota as well if you want to. However, Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, despite the fact that this option was given to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam before and even after this verse was revealed, Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam still maintained equality with regards to the time that he would give the Azwaj Mutahharat. Although it was optional, but still Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had distributed the nights with the Azwaj Mutahharat, and he would rotate accordingly. As I mentioned, so despite this, and Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would even say that Allah Ta'ala, this is what I can do, the justice that I can do with regards to the distribution of nights. However, do not hold me responsible for that which is not in my possession. Meaning that from the Azwaj Mutahharat, there might be some from them that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam naturally is inclined to more and has more love for, which is something which is feelings of the heart. So Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam say, and make dua to Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala, that which is in my ability that I have done, and that is what gives them the equal opportunities and equal time. That which isn't, then do not hold me responsible for that. Sayyidina Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha, a time did come when Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had decided to divorce Sayyidina Sauda radiallahu ta'ala anha. And she had then requested Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that she would be willing to give her night to any of the other Azwaj Mutaharat in order for Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to keep her, maintain her in the nikah. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam agreed to that. And she gave her turn to Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. It was also, and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam maintained this. So even after this verse was revealed, Aisha says, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam still maintained this despite the fact that it was option upon Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. To that extent that when Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam became ill, and by ill we mean the illness in which Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had passed away, that's when it became difficult for Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to go to, again each night, next person, next wife's house. That's when Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had asked permission from the Azwaj Mutahara that if he can then spend his remaining time in the household of Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. And they all agreed to that, and they would come and visit Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam there. And that's when Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had passed away in the household of Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. And Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha mentions that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam passed away as well in such a manner that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was in the lap of Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. And she says that I'm fortunate that my saliva is what mixed with the saliva of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. That while Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam was in that state, Abdul Rahman ibn Abi Bakr, the brother of Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, he came, and when he walked in, he had a fresh miswak with him. And Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam looked towards it, and Aisha understood that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam looking towards it meant that he wanted it, and she asked if he wanted it, yes. Because it was so fresh, so Aisha radiallahu ta'ala sallam, that she then chewed it and she cleaned it, and she prepared it for Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So in this way, in chewing it and preparing, she said her saliva is what mixed with the saliva of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That was the last thing of this world and the first of the akhirah. And Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was in the laps of Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, with his head between the chin and the chest of Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, and that is where and how Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had passed away. So this equality that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would give in the rota, that was optional for Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, but Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam maintained that. And Allah Ta'ala says, ذَلِكَ أَدْنَا أَن تَقَرَّ أَعْيُنُهُنَّ, that this as well is something that it is best so that their eyes are cool, means they remain happy with this. وَلَا يَحْزَنَّ, they do not grieve. وَيَرْضَيْنَ, and they will be pleased with that which you give them. Means that one is that you know something is your due. So there you're not going to be just happy when you know that look, it's my due, so you have to give it to me. Whatever is the right, so you have to maintain that right, and you have to then maintain that person, you have to give them what their rights are. Here Allah Ta'ala is saying that in this manner, if you just stipulated upon them, then whatever time you give them, they're going to be appreciative of that. Because they're not going to say, well, you have to anyway, isn't it? It's not okay, well, it's your duty anyway, so you have to, after all. It's a case of, thank you for the time that you have given us and the time that you have spent with us. So this would be what pleasing to them. And it would, Wallahu ya'lam, and then Allah Ta'ala mentions, Wallahu ya'lam ma fi qulubikum. Now, having mentioned what? These rulings Allah Ta'ala mentions, Allah knows what is within your hearts. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلِيمًا حَلِيمًا. And Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is all-knowing and all-tolerant. This refers towards either Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam directly, the love that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has for his wives. And the other is here, Wallahu ya'lamu ma fi qulubikum, refers towards qulubikum, the general Muslims, that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is addressing them now in this part. That a general Muslim the thought may come to them that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has all these flexibilities and we do not have these flexibilities. So admonishing that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that look, if this thought comes into your mind, that Wallahu ya'lamu ma fi qulubikum, Allah Ta'ala knows what is in your heart. This is exclusive for Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in order to make ease for Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam with regards to these matters. And وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلِيمًا حَلِيمًا. And then finally Allah Ta'ala mentions that لَا يَحِلُّ لَكَ النِّسَاءُ مِن بَعْدُ وَلَا أَن تَبَدَّلَ بِهِنَّ مِنْ أَزْوَاجِهِمْ وَلَوْ أَعْجَبَكَ حُسْنُهُنَّ إِلَّا مَا مَلَكَتْ يَمِينُكَ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ رَقِيبًا. Allah Ta'ala says that after this, meaning the wives that you already have, other women are not permitted for you. That they are not permitted for you. And it is also not permissible for you to take another woman in marriage in exchange of any of the wives that you currently have, even though her beauty may appeal to you, unless she may be of a slave. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watchful, ala kulli shay'in raqiba, over everything. Allah ta'ala is raqib, meaning watchful over everything. So Allah ta'ala then mentions that after this, women are not permitted for you. What did this ba'du refer towards? There is two tafsirs here with regards to opinions with regards to what does ba'du mean, meaning after this. After this refers to what? The one opinion of the Mufassirin, including Sayyidina Anas radiallahu ta'ala and Sayyidina Ibn Abbas and other Sahaba, is min ba'du refers towards the Azwaj Mutahharat, the current Azwaj Mutahharat. That as you reflect previously, when the matter had come about with regards to Azwaj Mutahharat, asking Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam and demanding from Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam an increase in the maintenance. That's when Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam was given that opportunity. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam then addressed the wives Azwaj Mutahharat that Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu qul li azwajika in kuntunna turidna al-hayata ad-dunya wa zinataha fata'alayna umattikunna wa sarrihkunna sarahan jamila. That O Nabi, say to your wives, if you desire the life of this world and its adornments, then come forward, I shall grant you a generous provision and separate from you. This ikhtiyar choice was given to the Azwaj Mutahharat. But the Azwaj Mutahharat desired what? And they chose Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they dropped the demand for more maintenance. Because of this, and out of reward for that, Allah Ta'ala says that look, when these Azwaj Mutahharat have chosen you, Allah and the Rasul, over everything else, now do not get married to anybody else besides them. Because whoever you get married to afterwards, they won't get that opportunity, that test, or put through that test. They had been put through that test and they chose the Nabi of Allah. Hence their reward is that no one else should be shared with them in being the wives of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. That is what one tafsir is of min ba'du. And wala an tabaddala bihinna min azwaj. And the other is, it also means that do not exchange them for another one, that you think that now, okay, I need to exchange. So it means that divorce one in order to replace her with another one. That's also another way. If that person was 4 wives, now he wants a 5th one, the only way is to what? To divorce one and then bring another one in a nikah. Allah Ta'ala says even that is not allowed. That is one of the tafsir. And the other tafsir is that La yahillu lakan nisaw min ba'du refers towards the conditions, the restrictions that had been mentioned already in the previous verses. That aside from these, now it's not permissible for you to marry anybody else. For example, we did the maternal and the paternal cousins who have done hijrat with you. This is only for Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, so meaning that only they are allowed. Ba'du means after them, meaning aside from them. Only the mu'mina or the women are permissible for you. Those aside from them are not allowed for you. So it refers towards those conditions and clauses that Allah Ta'ala has mentioned previously, that only they are permitted for you, aside from them nobody else is permitted. And the opinion here is Ba'du refers towards the Azwaj Mutahharat that are already in the possession or who already were married to Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah says, وَلَوْ أَعْجَبْكَ حُسْنُهُنَّ إِلَّا مَا مَلَكَتْ يَمِينُكَ. Aside from those who are the slave girls, because battles will continue, spoils of war will continue, prisons of war will continue, then that is something which will increase. So that is exclusive, that unless she be taken as your slave, and that is not from the wife, and that is a different matter. Inna Allah kana alaykum raqiba. Wa kana Allahu ala kulli shay'in raqiba. Allah Ta'ala is watchful over everything. And then the next verse, Allah Ta'ala continue with the mention of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, mention another etiquette with regard to the household of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah Ta'ala grant us all the understanding. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.